everyone! So in today's video, we are going to be doing a Breyer collection tour.
This video was requested by Rarity Lover AJ. Thank you so much for the request.
So we are going to go from the smallest scale to the largest scale. So let's begin with Mini Winnies.
So we have two Mini Winnies, Prince
and Tinker. So we don't actually really collect Mini Winnies, we just kind of bought them to see how big they were. Some of them don't really have much detail,
but others have quite a bit. But then again, they don't really stand very well. On to the next ones.
So our only two non-customized stablemates are the Tennessee Walking Horse
and the American Saddlebred.
And you might recognize these two from the Breyers we got for a Christmas video. I do plan to customize mine just because I want to, but I haven't gotten around to it yet.
And I don't really plan to customize her because I have to say I really like her colorings.
We have 3 classics each, and most of them are accidents. So these are my 2 first classics, and they are the Dartmoor Pony and Foal. These 2 were one of my first Breyers, and I ordered them from Amazon, but by back that time I didn't know the difference between classic and traditional scales. So I bought these thinking they'd be as big as my other horses, even though they weren't. She wouldn't stand up because this foot and this foot were on the ground, but neither of these two were. So this was the leg that was the closest to the ground, so I bent it down and fixed it, so now she stands up perfectly fine. And I named Mother's Song and the baby Rhythm because I thought that was so cute since they kind of worked together.
So these 2 were my first 2 Breyers, and they are classics too. Like I said, first 2 Breyers, didn't know the difference between classics and traditionals, so yeah. This is the Raven, Black, Morgan, and Foal set. And I originally thought her name was Raven and her name was Morgan, but I didn't like the name Morgan. So I thought, Raven's cute, and I'll name her Oak, because I thought that was super cute. And I have to say, I still think they're really cute, even though they're a mistake. On to the next horse.
So this is my last classic, and I knew he was a classic when I bought him, but he was the Paint Your Own Dream Horse Thoroughbred kit. And this is actually the repaint of the repaint that I did. So I ended up being pretty happy with him. He's not my favorite, but he's pretty nice. And his name is Thunder. On to the final classic.
So this is the last classic, and yes, I got the same kit. So this is actually a repaint of a repaint of a repaint. I repainted her once, and she was horrible. Then I made her a black Appaloosa, and I thought that'd be pretty. And it turned out hideous too. Well, better than the last one. So I thought maybe it might be the black that I don't like on it. So I decided to paint her into a bay, and I can't say she turned out my favorite, but she turned out pretty good. So I thought she was a girl in the beginning, so yeah, I made her a girl because I wanted her to be a girl, and I named her Rain Dance. And finally, on to the traditionals. We have a lot more of those.
So these are my first traditional Breyers, and I actually got these 2 a long time ago. These are the original vintage Breyer cows, and I actually got them from my grandparents a very long time ago. I would say probably like 2008 or something. And they were even older than that because she already had her horn chipped off when I got her, and no one even knew that they were Breyers when we had them. I actually didn't realize they were Breyers until a little while after I started collecting Breyer horses, and we saw the new versions of these two in a YouTube video. So on to the next one.
So my first traditional Breyer is Zenyatta's first colt, or Cosmic One. He's on the Jillian mold, but I might be saying that wrong. He's really cute and I love all his shading. On to the next horse.
So this is my first Breyer horse traditional. I actually had him before I knew the cows were Breyers, so he's kind of my first Breyer, but he's kind of not. And this is Harley D. Zip, and he is on the Loping Quarter Horse mold. I actually really like his coloring because he's very coppery and shimmery, even though I did notice that his nose scratched really easily. And just after getting him out of the box, we realized he can actually kind of stand on his back legs like this, even though his feet look a little bit odd. But if you were going to take a picture or something, you could probably just film the top half like that, so you don't see his back feet. But he does balance like this. On to the next one.
So my next traditional is Snowman. He's on the Warmblood Stallion mold, and shortly after I unboxed him, I realized that the one that I got has a little green mark here, and on his butt he has some like scratches of paint. So I guess he's kind of a defect model, but I still really like him, and I am very happy I got him. And I guess I'm not the only one that really likes him, since on the box it said brought back by collector's demand. And it says Snowman on his belly in gold. On to the next horse.
So my next traditional is the Appaloosa Indian Pony. And when I first saw this horse on Amazon, I didn't want to buy him because they were showing the one with all the markings and stuff on him. And I didn't really like that about him, and I thought they were all like that, even though there are two versions. But I really do like the feathers in the hair anyway. He is on the Appaloosa Sport Horse mold, and I have to say, even though it's an older mold, I think they added a lot of detail to the coloring, and I really like him. On to the next horse.
So my next traditional is SBH Phoenix. He is on the Othello or Wintersong mold. I really like how this mold has a very long tail and mane. And he has a lot of weight to him. On to the next horse.
So my next horse is Northern Dancer. He is on the John Henry mold, and I believe it's the newer version because the older one is a lot more bumpy. I do like his coloring, and I really liked his facial markings with the little pink lip and everything. And I would definitely like him probably a bit more if he was on a slightly newer mold, but I still really do like him. And he also has Northern Dancer in gold on his belly. On to the next horse.
So my next traditional is Big Checks to Cash. He is on the Smart Chic Olina mold, and I really like him. He is my favorite Breyer that I own just because of his mold and his coloring. I really like the dappling on him and the shading and his socks, and basically everything about this horse I really like. He has a white brain and a blue eye. On to the next horse.
So my two next horses are Gigi Valentine and Heartbreaker. Heartbreaker is on the Gillen mold, or Gillen mold, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, And Gigi Valentine is on the Giselle mold. Amazon was having a sale and I ended up buying these two. It said 1 in 5 are glossy and I ended up with the glossy ones. Giselle is one of my favorite molds and I really like her on it. And she has a small brand right here and a star on her face. She also has a little snip on her nose, but when I first noticed that, I thought I chipped it off until we checked the box and the picture of her in real life actually has the snip on her nose. On to the next horses.
So my next Breyer horse is Chocolate Chip Kisses. He is on the Stock Horse Stallion mold. I'm not a big fan of this mold because it is a bit older and like there's not that much detailing, but I still like them. On to the next horse.
So these are the next two horses I have. They are on the Clydesdale Mare and Clydesdale Foal molds. I really liked the newer ones they have on this mold, but I couldn't find them for sale anywhere. So I ended up buying 2 vintage body models off of eBay and painted them myself. I have to say I didn't do that bad of a job. I think I might repaint them later because they don't have that much detail or anything, but I'm still happy about them and I really like them anyway. This was one of the first times I tried to do dappling on her belly and it kind of worked, but they're very round. But I have to say, during the time that I did them, I hadn't done too many customs before it, so I'm pretty happy with how they turned out, even though, like I said, I might redo them in the future.
So my next Breyer horse is Glorioso. He is on the Andalusian Stallion mold, and I'm not going to be going into too much detail because we have a whole review on him. On to the next horse.
So my next horse is Cortez C. He is on the Walking Thoroughbred mold, and even though he's kind of plain, I still really like him. I'm not too big of a fan of Breyer's black horses because they're just one solid black color. On to the next one.
So my next horse is the RCMP Musical Ride Horse. He is on the Big Ben mold, and again, I'm not going to be going into too much detail because we do have a review on him. One thing I noticed is the 96 on his leg, so I think that might be the model. If any of you know what that means, please let us know. On to the next horse.
So my next Breyer is Woodland Splendor, and we do already have a review on him. He is on the Lonesome Glory mold. He is the 2016 holiday horse, and even though he's a little bit more expensive than a regular Breyer, I'm still happy that I got him. On to the next horse.
So my second last traditional Breyer is Rocky. He is on the Standing Stock Horse mold, and we do have a review on him already. And even though he's on an older mold, which doesn't have too much detailing, I still think he's adorable. On to the next horse.
So my second last horse is the Connemara pony. He is on the Newsworthy mold with the long mane and tail variation. We have a review on this one too, and he was my first ever Breyer with a stand, and it turns out that he's not that hard to work with. It looks a little bit weird that he's jumping all the time depending on what you're doing with him, but I am really happy with him still, and I'm glad I got him. On to the next one.
So my last Breyer is Secretariat. He is on the Smarty Jones mold, and we have a review on him already. On to the last horse.
So my final horse is Sweet Pea, and just like the others, we have a review on her already, but she is very adorable. She is on the amber mold, and they actually have an older and newer variation to this mold, so I'm assuming she's newer since she was made in 2016. So that is our Breyer collection. There will be links in the description for the reviews we mentioned in the video.
And if you have any ideas for future videos, we'd love to hear your suggestions.
Thanks for watching. Bye!